All right, let's get into it. Today, we are talking about one of the most beautiful and, believe it or not, deadliest shots in tennis, the drop shot. Yeah, it looks like just a little tap over the net, but in the right hands, it is a weapon of pure, cold-blooded deception. So, how on earth did this gentle little shot become such a monster on the court? Let's break it down.
You know, you can't talk about the modern drop shot without saying one name, Carlos Alcaraz. The analyst Craig O'Shaughnessy put it perfectly. He's got a dropper to die for. Seriously, his ability to just whip this thing out in the middle of a brutal rally at the most important moments, it's completely changing how the game is played.
But that really is the big question, isn't it? I mean, we live in a world of 130-mile-an-hour serves and forehands that look like they could knock down a wall. So how does this soft, quiet little shot, this little whisper of a hit, become one of the most powerful weapons in the game?
To figure that out, we have to start with what I like to call the Alcaraz effect. We're going to look at how one guy's absolute mastery of a single shot is basically forcing everyone else to tear up their old playbooks and start fresh.
You see, for years and years, the drop shot was kind of looked down on. It was seen as a trick shot, something flashy you might try if you were feeling lucky or a little desperate, a total gamble. But players like Alcaraz have completely flipped that idea on its head. Now it's not a trick, it's a tactical cornerstone. But okay, to really get why it works so well, we first have to understand how it works. So let's talk about the science of touch. And I promise, this isn't some kind of voodoo or magic, it's just pure, beautiful physics.
Okay, just look at the difference here. On the one hand, you've got your standard power drive. You're swinging fast, the racket faces straight up and down to just crush through the ball, and you follow through all the way. The drop shot? It's the exact opposite. You're actually slowing the racket down, opening up the face to get under the ball, and stopping the follow-through short to just absorb all the pace.
So here's the secret sauce. The real goal is to do two things that sound like they shouldn't be possible at the same time. You have to kill all the ball's forward speed while also putting an insane amount of backspin on it. That backspin is what makes the ball just die right after it hits the court, or sometimes even bounce back towards the net. It's just brutal to get to. And this breaks it down perfectly. Step 1, the takeback looks just like a normal, powerful ground stroke, and that is so important. We're going to come back to that. Then, right before they hit the ball, they slam on the brakes, slowing the racket way down. Step 3 is the cut, that open racket face slicing under the ball to create all that spin. And finally, that short, soft follow-through acts like a cushion, just sucking all the energy right out of the ball. Okay, so we've got the physics down. But the true genius of the drop shot, the real artistry, isn't just in how you hit it, it's in the disguise. This is where we leave the world of physics and enter the world of psychology. This is about winning the point before the ball has even left the strings.
And the technical term for this is kinematic disguise. It sounds fancy, but the idea is actually pretty simple. You make your body movements for the drop shot look exactly like they would for a massive forehand, for as long as you possibly can. You're trying to trick your opponent's brain, which has been trained to predict what's coming next.
You see, pros don't just stand there and wait to see where the ball goes. Their brains are subconsciously reading all these tiny little clues from their opponent's body. How much they turn their shoulder, how high they take the racket back, how they shift their weight. It's like a physical language that tells them what shot is coming. And that is the whole game. The goal for a master like Alcaraz is to make every single one of those cues scream, I'm about to hit this as hard as I can, right up until the very last millisecond. And then, in a blink, it all changes. And out comes that soft little drop shot instead. Now, here is the craziest, most counterintuitive part of this whole thing. Research actually shows that this kind of disguise works better against the best players in the world. And you have to ask why. Well, it's because those experts are so good at reading those little cues that they trust their instincts and commit to moving earlier. The disguise uses their own expertise against them. It's brilliant. So, we've covered the physics, we've covered the psychology, but you might still be thinking, sure, it's clever, but is it reliable? Well, let's look at the numbers. It's time to finally put that old risky shot myth to bed for good. Wow, this chart just says it all, doesn't it? For your average pro on tour, hitting a drop shot is basically a coin flip. You win the point about 52% of the time. But then you look at Carlos Alcaraz. His win rate jumps to an unbelievable 68%. That's not a risky shot. That is a stone-cold, reliable weapon.
Let's just sit with that number for a second. 68%. That means when Alcaraz decides to pull the trigger on a drop shot, he wins the point more than 2 times out of 3. For him, it's not a gamble. It's one of the highest percentage shots he has, period.
And this table right here adds some really important context. Because you might think, well, maybe he just hits it more often. But look at player B. They use it almost as much as Alcaraz, but their win rate is right back down to that 50-50 average. This proves it's not about how often you hit it, it's about the quality, the disguise, the timing, the whole package.
And the impact goes even deeper than just the points it wins. Just the threat of the drop shot is a weapon. It makes opponents nervous. It forces them to cheat up a little, to stand closer to the baseline, just in case. And the moment they do that, boom, Alcaraz can blast a deep drive right by them. It's a psychological checkmate.
So when you put it all together, what are we really looking at here? We're looking at a weapon that's been completely reimagined. And it might just be showing us the new frontier of tennis.
So, let's just quickly recap. The drop shot is officially demystified. We know it's a perfect mix of physics and body mechanics. We know its real power comes from that incredible kinematic disguise. The numbers prove that for the Masters, it is a killer, high-percentage play. And bigger picture, it really represents a move away from just pure power and towards a smarter game of tactical deception.
Which kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about. In a game that has become so defined by just overwhelming baseline power, could it be that the ultimate advantage, the real secret to winning, isn't hitting the ball harder, but is actually the simple art of deception?